Here we go. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Dan Cardellichio. I want to welcome you to the first time ever with my co-host, Mandy Ross. Mandy, first of all, how are you doing today?
I feel amazing, Dan. Thank you so much for the intro. It's sunny here. It's beautiful. It's like the song, the sun is shining, the weather is sweet. It makes me want to move my dancing feet.
What song is that? I love that.
I believe it's Bob Marley.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. So this is our first ever. We had such a great response on the Destination Health podcast, right?
Yeah, it was amazing last time.
We really had an amazing response, and so many people had viewed that particular podcast that Mandy and we decided to do our own podcast, and we're going to call it for now the MD Life Segment Podcast. So I'm Dr. Dan, and Mandy, welcome again. Mandy is a catalyst for positive change, international TV and media personality, speaker, writer, model, and mindset and manifestation coach, whose purpose is to help individuals step into their happiest, most successful, aligned, and loving selves. I'm excited. This is our first podcast. We're going to be doing this. Let's talk about this. I think we said we're going to do this once a month, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good time in between for us. I know you and I are both very inspired people, and we, in our own lives, with my coaching and your practice and the other things we're involved with, it's a good amount of time, I think, for us to collect, things that we hear, whether it's from patients or coaching clients or work practice, and people who are experiencing different things going on, and then be able to sort of pull from that and then deliver valuable insights from both of ourselves to.
That's right. So for those of you that are listening in today, so far we're going to call this the MD Life segment. However, if any of you have another idea, put it into the comment section below, right? And if they can come up with something else, we're going to take a look at it, and we may change the name of this. But right now it's MD Life segment, and let's get right into it. What were we talking about, Mandy? We're talking about the pandemic, and I think I was relating to you that some of my patients have communicated to me that they haven't been out since the pandemic.
Yeah.
And they've been inside, and I'm like, how do you get food and stuff like that? And, they say, well, you know what? I'm not really out. Maybe I just go get food, or maybe I just walk outside to get the kids from the bus stop. Some of them, one friend of mine hasn't been out at all since the beginning of the pandemic. And this has caused a lot of stress and anxiety on, society and people. And we decided that we were going to talk about this because this is something that is extremely important, because it's playing a toll on society. It's playing, a toll on us as individuals, mind, body, and soul. So we're going to talk about this, right? So tell us, Mandy, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is a great topic to dive into, especially with you, because I think from so many different, in so many different ways, mind, body, and soul, everything that's going on in the world, energetically speaking, is really affecting, every single one of us in our own unique ways. But at the same time, a lot of us are experiencing things that are similar. And I think even just having this kind of conversation is a beautiful space to be able to share and connect, whether it's live here in the comments or wherever you end up watching this, if it's after the fact, share about what you're going through, because I'm the type of person, I do talk to so many different people in many different areas of my life as well. I know you are the same, whether it's online or off. And, I see patterns basically. And a lot of people are kind of feeling this, it's funny, in the last week alone, 2 people close to me came out and used the metaphor of a dark cloud. Luckily, I will say fortunately, and I intend this for everybody in my life, fortunately, they came back, or the reason why they brought it up is they were actually revealing that recently they both, oddly enough, had allowed themselves to, really focus back on themselves to release that dark cloud. And it felt like literally no pun intended here in Toronto, but that the sunshine was out again, the sun
Right.
kind of was in their life again in this good way, and new, fresh, positive energy. But I think that a lot of people can relate to that. And, I think that even though we feel at times that we're so connected because of this online, rapport we have with people, or we're engaging with people, which again, I think is a great outlet, considering especially the fact that we can't really be close up, interactive in person with others right now. But at the same time, I still think it's, nothing beats that one-on-one in-person connection.
Oh yeah,
right?
sure.
So, being able to even physically touch people like that alone, I can personally attest for this, like as someone who I'm very touchy-feely, not with every single person, but, just the type of person. I'm the type of person, like most often if I meet someone, if I have a little bit more of a connection with them, look, I'm usually a hugger, I like to really I'm more of an affectionate type of person. So for me, it's been very kind of strange not being able to get together with people one-on-one, have that intimate connection, whether it's friends, loved ones, you name it. I mean, I know you and I had chatted prior to the podcast about some of our own personal things that, some personal examples, like, for example, I can't go and visit my grandparents right now. That's really hard for me because I'm really close to them, and I want to be able to go and spend time with them. But I know that by virtue of me staying away, it's doing a service to them and also to myself to keep them healthy. So, say for an example, what could you do in that case? I try my best to connect with them, or call them, or just check in with them. We try to stay in touch, like online too. Little things like that can really make a huge difference, especially for people who, on my end, I definitely don't have a compromised immune system, but for people who especially have those compromised immune systems, they literally can't really be around anybody. So for people like that who are exclusively kind of cooped in right now, just making that extra effort to try to connect with people in your life that maybe are dealing with that, it really does make a huge difference.
Yeah, you know what? It does make a huge difference. And, my mother is in North Carolina along with my entire family. So we haven't seen them since the beginning of this pandemic. So it's been quite a long time. And we will Zoom, we'll do FaceTime, and we'll make sure we have that connection, because I know that my niece, my sister Doreen's daughter, Nicole, she had a baby. And so we haven't seen the baby yet. And the baby's maybe 3 or 4 months old. And we haven't, there's my son in the background. She's only 3 or 4 months old, and she's the cutest little button. And I just want to grab her and I want to kiss her. So, we don't want to make this into a negative thing. We want to make it to a positive thing, right? And that's what we were saying.
That's just it, right? Like finding solutions. This whole episode is literally about giving people, y'all watching out there, we just want to really, more than anything, provide y'all with solutions, because this is stuff that we're all dealing with. I mean, I can't tell you the number of people I know who, every single one of us is being affected by this, and it's about being proactive. Again, going back to, I believe I touched on this in our last podcast episode. If you didn't watch that one, go and watch that one. That was awesome.
Go watch that one, right?
But I think I went in just a little bit about basically having like this victim versus victor mentality. And this absolutely applies to this situation as well. It applies to every situation in life. Like, how can you see this, even though it is what it is, just being responsive versus reactive? How can you respond in a way where you can actually maybe use it to your benefit? As much as I know for some people, like that really might be stretching it, but really, how can you make it into a benefit? Maybe this is an opportunity, and you can look at it like this, like maybe this is the opportunity for you to dive a little deeper within your own self journey. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to take care of yourself, or take care of things like
little self-care.
Exactly. Things that you put off. Maybe there's some to-dos that you have been putting off. And I mean, I know we're almost in this now for a year now, but there still might be things on that to-do list that you still are putting off. Or maybe there's, things that you've always wanted to check off, like like things that maybe might take a little bit longer, or you never felt you had the personal time or space to do for yourself. Well, now that you're at home more often, maybe you could do those things.
That is a perfect example because there are different types of things that you can do to make yourself feel better during this time and be better during this time. So the first aspect of it is we're talking about, you know, feel what you're feeling, and then you have to release it and you got to find those solutions, right? So yeah,
Exactly.
we've had loss of social interaction. However, we can meet and greet, whether it's on a Zoom or it's on the phone. You know, we were talking about, talking with family, doing a Zoom. It's not the same, but you still have to make the best of the situation. You have to have that mindset where, okay, it's not going to be like that right now. However, we need to move forward and we need to find that solution. And what we were saying, I mean, there's wine clubs that are popping up, right? Where
Yeah,
you
that's
have
a
a
big
glass of
trend that I'm
wine,
seeing right
right?
now. I'm seeing that right now where there's a lot of people are getting really creative online, especially event planners in that space,
Right,
because obviously events with large group gatherings are not possible right now and have not been for
right.
quite some time. So people are getting really creative with the online space in terms of things like, yeah, like having, say, wine tastings at home, or having other sorts of activities where everyone can,
Get together
join
on
in.
Zoom. Right.
Exactly. Have these Zoom dates where everybody joins in. Another example that, just personally speaking, just popped up literally in my mind is my dad actually was like, how about the next time we chat, we have a guitar lesson? I think that's partly my dad.
It's a
I
great
think that's partly my
idea.
dad trying to make sure that I'm actually practicing at home, checking in with me with the guitar that he gave me a while
Right.
back. But at the same time, like, just come up with fun, creative things that maybe you wouldn't normally do on, say, Zoom calls. But I see this trend both professionally and personally, with people doing more creative things, like, even, I mean, this is like kind of out there too, but for some people it works, like even doing Zoom dates, like first dates online, or there's companies that are hiring people to even host online events for their staff, to even do like kind of lunch and learns and that kind of thing. So there's
Right.
a lot of different things going on in the online world that they may have been going on before, obviously, but like there's such a prevalence of them,
Right.
happening more often because people just need to get creative.
You have to get creative. You have to pivot during this time because if you don't, you're going to take those steps back. So, listen, I just thought of something, maybe I'm going to have a brunch with my family on Sunday,
Yes.
and we'll meet around 11 o'clock, and I don't know, we'll have a couple of mimosas or something
Cheers
along
on
those.
cheers on Zooms together, on the Zoom
Yeah, yeah,
together.
yeah. And the other big aspect of this is a lot of people have lost jobs. That puts a lot of financial strain on individuals, Mandy. Let's talk about this because I have a very specific thought and I discussed this with some friends who have lost their jobs. So, what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, this is another realm that I definitely have thought about myself. I mean, I have to say, as someone who obviously is a coach and a content creator, influencer, model, you know, I would say it at the beginning of all of this, I was much more versed in journalism, media work, and that
Mhm.
required me to have to go outside of my house a lot more often, being a freelance journalist, where, say, I was covering something, or I was interviewing people in person, or, just working with different media entities, but it was always outside really of my home,
Mhm.
because when COVID hit, that kind of took like a halt of, so sorry, but there's not too much that you're able to do being home as a freelancer. It really, see, this is where I say, step into your leadership, step into your
Oh,
Victor
right,
mentality, because this is when I was like, I don't, what's going on in the world that, obviously is happening. I'm going to look at
right,
this as an opportunity to set myself apart and really rise above to the occasion. How can
right,
I take advantage of this opportunity where, say, more people are online? How can I take advantage of having the background that I do and really utilizing my skills? And I kid you not, like, I'm someone who you know, because of that. And I always go back to mindset because, sorry, I'm just itching my back here. You guys are wondering where my arm went. real speak, right? Real, like I'm a real person.
It's live. We're live. We're going live. So it's all good.
All good. You never know. Your son, you know, my back.
My
Whatever.
son, I got a scratch here. It's all good.
But that being said, you know, like I really took advantage of thinking about like the way that things were kind of rolling. You know, there was a lot of talk about, you know, in the beginning of all this happening, that this would be something that was going to be pretty long term at the beginning, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, like I really was like, no, I'm not gonna allow myself to get in a down state. I'm not going to allow myself to be a victim and say, oh, poor me, like, you know, one of the industries I'm in is not doing so well, or not hiring as much, or, you know, all these limiting beliefs, even though they might logically be happening, but I will never allow myself to ever feel like I can't rise above it, right? Like overcome any obstacle. And that's having a victor mentality. So
right.
I went to the drawing board and I said, okay, let's see what else I can do. And maybe even be a person who does stand out because of my background with, say, digital journalism, or someone with, you know, content creation skills and influencing, and kind of double down, as they say,
right.
on what's already working well for me in those areas. And that's exactly what I've done. And literally, Dan, and even with my coaching, like going more full force with that, you know, putting out more content, all of that stuff. If you're someone out there watching who's maybe in a similar situation, it's really about thinking, not even just thinking outside the box, as I like to say, but creating your own box. How can you create your own box
right.
of what you have at hand? Because in life, and I like to use these kind of corny metaphors sometimes, but like, it's true. It's not about what you're dealt. It's like, or, you know, if life gives you lemonade or lemons, as the saying goes, it's like, no, like, let's create our own thing that works for us. Right. You can always come out on top if you think with a victor mentality. What are
I love that.
I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on, because I know you chatted about this with your friends, and, you know, totally different perspective on it.
So, you know what, we've in our offices, when this happened, we had to pivot. So everybody's pivoting. You had to have that victor mentality. You had to have that positive mindset, because if you don't have that positive mindset, you may not have a business when this comes out, and you can figure out different ways to make your business run, and no matter who you are. And I belong to, and I've been asked to be on a couple of economic development programs in a couple of different towns here in New Jersey. And I've given my opinion on how different businesses can go. And let's say you're in a business, by way of an example, Mandy, that it's going to go away because you just can't have individuals come. However, there is always a way to make it work. So a lot of the personal trainers, a lot of the gyms here in New Jersey were having a tough time. So, I mean, online training, you know, has exploded. Training outside, socially distancing, follow the guidelines, because that's what we have to do, right? Following those guidelines and doing, you know, training classes at that particular point. A friend of mine, you know, was in a business where they were going to go under. And I said, you know what, you have some interests. You have some outside interests that you've always said, maybe I'll do a little bit of this to make some money, you know, because I'm interested in something.
Right there. That's creating your own box out of an
That's exactly right. So they're creating their own box. And some people say to me, oh, you know, I have a Pollyanna attitude or whatever. No, I have that positive mindset. I have that victor attitude where I can see the possibilities. You and I see those possibilities.
Someone actually said the same thing to me this week, Dan. Literally, I can't make this up. Someone actually said, you know, take it as a compliment, Mandy, but I literally think you have a Pollyanna mindset. And I was like, thank you. I take it as a compliment.
It's not anything bad. You can see the possibilities. I mean, one individual who's a friend of mine got really upset at me, really upset because I was discussing this. I was discussing it a little bit online with friends. And I said, listen, you know, I believe in the human spirit, and I believe that you can make it. I believe that anything at any given time, you can change your life. And
Absolutely.
we are shining examples of this. And so you can do this. And whether you have a job loss or you're in the financial, strain right now, if there's something that you can do, right? A hobby, whatever it is, to start making money, enjoy what you're doing so that you can help out and you can provide. So if you've had loss of social interaction, there's many different ways that you can connect with people. It may not be optimal, but you can still do this. And
Totally.
and the individuals that I know that I have spoken to about this, they got excited. They're like, okay, let's do something. Let's do something. It's time. It's time, let's not wallow away in the pity. Let's move forward. And everybody's doing fine. So protect yourself, be healthy, protect yourself, be healthy, pivot. And listen, this was also a great time to get close to your children. Not easy, not easy. I'm smiling. Homeschooling is not exactly what a 13-year-old like my son is designed to do, Mandy, because
Yeah,
they want to be with their friends. They want to be with their friends. However, you can utilize that time in
totally.
order to become more homogenous as a family. I do remember a couple of nights where I came home from work because I was deemed essential, and I'm walking into the house, and I don't know if my wife or my son were going to go at it, because it's not easy either, because you got to help teach them during all of this, and then they want to get outside, they want to go see
Totally.
their buddies. But the silver lining is I got my son, we got him, and we were working out, we were shooting hoops in the backyard, we were playing tennis, we were throwing the baseball around, we were going on runs, we were going on hikes. We got to spend quality time, he and I, together. So
Absolutely. Honestly,
that's
like I mean, that's again thinking of it in a Victor way. It's like I personally don't have children myself yet. I want to be a parent, but I don't have them yet. But it sounds like from the parents that I do speak with, there have been some major challenges, but again, some of the parents have thought in the same way that you have, even though with all of, everything being said, with kind of the frustration, the challenges, the uncertainty of what's happening with the schools, then the fear as well, the fear factor of like, oh my gosh, if you were worried about your children before, it's like freaked out about if they're going to be at a school or if they're going to get this thing or whatever. So there's a lot of different things that are going on emotionally, mentally, like having to think about another person yet again, just trying to deal with it yourself and then be the parent as well. So guilt, all these things that people are experiencing right now as a parent. And I think, again, you're right. The silver lining is, well, how can I utilize this as an opportunity versus something that, maybe normally I'd kind of be annoyed with or frustrated at or something like that. And think of it like, yeah, this is quality time maybe that you never could have had with your child.
right.
And as much as, yes, there might be some obstacles around it, it might be sometimes frustrating, it might, that's also a learning opportunity for you as well as a parent.
That's right. This is an opportunity for growth. This is an opportunity for growth, whether it's personal or professional or family wise. You need to look at this from an opportunity. And I was listening to somebody when this first happened, and he is in Las Vegas, and his name is Brad Sugars, and he's an entrepreneur. And just listening to him, and what he was doing to make sure he had that manifesting that positive mindset, and what he did to keep his employees working, and what he had to do, and what he was very successful at. He wasn't going to let this bring him down. He wasn't going to let it. And in listening to him, it was just amazing, just listening to him. So
I think that's one good thing we should chat about, actually, now that you bring it up, is like knowing how important your own rapport is to be the strength and the pillar for others in your life,
Right.
especially during these kind of times. And whether that's personally, like your partner or your children or your family and friends, or if that is being, you know, a positive voice online, whether again, it's just the small community you might have online, or if you're someone who's a public figure, also using that platform to help others. And like,
Right.
one of the perfect things I could say in a public way, I've seen people that are really, just thinking about others, you know, in a really positive way, is like, I've seen people even do little things on Facebook where they'll say, hey, I want to support, you know, local company owners or local businesses or small business owners. And, you know, if you have a link of what you sell or what you promote or whatever, if you want to put it underneath online, so other people in my Facebook feed essentially can have a look at what
Right.
you do. Or even on LinkedIn, you know, I saw a post a while back that I thought was so simple but so powerfully sweet, which was someone saying something along the same lines of, you know, whatever business you offer. And it was someone with a large following too, who, to be honest, didn't have to do it, but they had a really large network on LinkedIn and a lot of connections in different areas and some pretty high up, you know, people in different businesses and industries. And they said, please drop
Right.
your links below, you know, introduce yourself in a comment, what you do, what you offer, put your website or whatever it is, like some link
Right.
that people can visit, so that others in my network can be free to explore you and what you do. And things like that, I think, are really nice. But I think given the time, I know you and I could chat forever, but I think, I mean, if it's okay with you, just kind of going in this motion anyways, it's like, maybe we can talk about how people in a personal way can equip themselves with different tools, personally speaking, mind, body, and soul, on how to
Absolutely.
rid themselves of stress.
Absolutely. Now, we have a bunch of people listening to us today. All right. So if you're listening to us, hello, everybody. Put a comment if you have a question for Mandy or I. If you have a topic that you want us to discuss, put that in the comment section. And if you're listening to this afterwards, you could still put the comments in, and we'll definitely, you know, answer you. So yes. So now that we've gone over that part, now what can we do, Mandy, to rock and roll? What are some of the aspects of this that can help us out?
So one of the things that I've used to mitigate and pretty much eliminate things like anxiety and stress in my own life is EFT tapping. And I actually did a YouTube video recently that
yes, now
I believe it has over 6,000 views at the time of this being recorded. It's super popular. I had so much positive feedback. It was pretty, I wasn't super surprised per se, but just like, it was really positively overwhelming. Like the amount of people that really appreciated this video and this technique. And I'm not actually, I was planning to, but I'm not going to do it. I honestly think if you guys just go and watch the video, it's on YouTube. I'm just Mandy J. Ross. But basically this concept, it's emotional freedom technique tapping. And it's basically tapping like different acupressure points in the body that then internally, it's like it uses the meridians in the body to shift energy. Essentially what's happening is you're sending signals to your amygdala in the brain. Amygdala is responsible for the flight or fight response, for, you know, different behaviors that we have, and for stress and that kind of thing. So like our emotions and whatnot. It's a way to absolutely mitigate, as I said, and even potentially eliminate severe stress, which often shows up as anxiety or, you know, addictions and that kind of thing. So it's a really effective, free, simple technique. And again, it's literally just tapping. It's tapping different like points in your body that then send that signal to de-stress you. So there's a really easy, quick, just really simple solution. And again, if you guys go and see the video, I actually do walk you through a whole process, or you can just look it up online. Like honestly, there's so many articles, people putting stuff out there on EFT tapping. So that's one solution I'd suggest. Another
can we go, Mandy, can we go through a quick a 2-minute session? Can we do
Oh,
that?
okay. Yeah, sure.
Come on, let's go. Let's have some fun. Let's
Okay,
go through a
so
quick 2-minute test
you
session.
want to let's pretend. I know you're in a chirpy, bubbly mood like I am. So obviously we're not like super stressed right now, but let's pretend on a scale, because like you can ask yourself, like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I, like, what you want to identify an emotion you're feeling, and then or feeling you're feeling, and then you want to say on a scale of 1 to 10, and you don't have to do this part, but I just like to, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed are you? Let's pretend you're an 8. So you could say, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm feeling 8 right now. So then I'm going to walk you quickly through a tapping session. And yes, it's only like, it can take like 1 minute maybe to do the full round. And then basically you want to do it until you're way lower on the Richter scale of whatever number you started with. So you want to say, when you start to feel that calmness, when you start to feel that peacefulness, that bliss come back into your body, and really tapped in, literally in tune with that feeling that's better, that's when you've probably done enough. And like, that's what I mean when I say, I'm not going to give you how many rounds to do, because that's really a personal situation, right? On how long it takes you. So basically you want to start with, and I'll take you through the main pressure points. So the karate chop. So let's pretend, so if we're feeling stressed, we want to say something. And again, there's lots of different scripts out there. I'm going to use one really bare bones, basic, simple that you guys can do at home, even right now, just to like make you feel more chilled out and more of like in a happy trance. So let's say, let's make the script today. Even though I'm feeling stressed, I release it and I feel at peace. So you can start with one side, and you do one side basically, and then the other. So you can say, even though I'm feeling stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. And then we can move to, even though I'm feeling stressed right now, I release it and I feel at peace. Here, even though I feel stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Under the eye. Even though I feel stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. And I'm going to go into yoga voice. Yoga voice. Even though I'm feeling stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Then under the lip. Even though I'm feeling stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Collarbone. Even though, under the collarbone, even though I feel stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Then you want to do top of the head. Even though I feel stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Now we're going to do the other side. Even though I'm feeling stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Even though I'm feeling stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Even though I'm feeling stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Under the eye. Even though I'm feeling stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Even though I'm feeling stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Even though I feel stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Even though I feel stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Even though I'm feeling stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace in body, mind, and spirit. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in. And release. Even though I feel stressed right now, I'm releasing it and I feel at peace. Blow it all out.
Nice.
How do you feel right now, Dan? How do you feel?
I feel very calm right now. I feel very calm right now, and I do feel at peace. I really do.
I feel stoned. Like I feel naturally stoned.
And not that we know.
People, but like I'm just saying, this is why I don't do drugs. I swear, this is why, because I I know how to naturally put myself in this tranquil, peaceful state.
So once you're in this state, now if you need to make decisions and so forth, you're at a better place in order
Absolutely.
to do that.
Oh man, it literally, how long did that take, Dan? 2 minutes? Maybe 5 at the most?
Yeah. It literally took, it took a couple of few minutes. So besides the EFT tapping, what else can we do?
I know one of both of our favorite topics is diet nutrition. Diet
Yes, it
nutrition is
is.
so critical.
Mm-hmm.
I will never stop talking about this in
Mm-hmm.
any place that I can about the effects, the impact that diet nutrition has on
Mm-hmm.
especially our mental health. I
Yes,
can't
it
even,
does.
and I've talked about this even in some of my, Instagram lives at Mandy Ross. But the effect that it has on our mental well-being, like what you eat, the saying like you are what you eat, it is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you put into your body essentially is it allows you or it actually blocks you from
Mm-hmm.
performing optimally in your life. Your body is meant to function optimally, and by virtue of you feeding it literally with the right nutrients, the right diet for your body, you're
Right.
then able to put out your optimal energy. And that's, energizing energy, sort of, I was going to say like the energizing, vibes that you want to put out there. But even
Right.
from a physical standpoint, mental standpoint, I mean, I'm sure all of y'all watching can think of one meal that you've eaten before and not felt very good. You certainly don't feel like doing many productive things after that.
That's
Versus,
right.
you eat clean, you eat healthy, and it doesn't have to be boring. I'm such a believer that healthy eating can be extremely delicious and still very nutritious. It's about thinking outside of creating your own box of what does that look like. And for every
Right.
person as well, diet nutrition is a very intimate, very unique thing. I will never say to anyone, you should be eating the exact same diet as me personally or somebody else, because
Mm-hmm.
everybody has a different, genetic makeup, has different requirements.
100%.
Like it's so individual. So, and I'm not on here to preach about a certain diet being better than another or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. I have my
Right.
own personal opinions. I know what works best for me. I'm at a point now in my life where I like to think of it as just intuitively eating.
Mm-hmm.
And even there could be different times of year, when I feel like eating a certain way or a certain
Right.
diet type. And another time of the year, I don't, or I want to change it up, or I have different goals maybe that I'm trying to accomplish. But when we're talking specifically about mental health,
Mm-hmm.
there have been, I would say across the board, there are certain things which I will share. And
Mm-hmm.
I know your background is
Mm-hmm.
extremely, I would consider you an expert in nutrition. So
Thank
I'd like
you.
to even hear your thoughts on some of the things maybe that people can maybe eat more of, just
Mm-hmm.
generally speaking, or maybe avoid
Oh,
to
yes.
help to increase I call them good mood foods.
Good
And
move
then
foods. Right.
good mood foods. And then maybe we'll just do another podcast all about diet nutrition, because this is such an extensive
It
topic.
is.
But then there's the foods, that literally will bring your vibe, your energy, literally physically down.
Down.
So I'll just mention a couple, and then I'd actually really love to hear your opinions as well. So I know for
Absolutely.
myself, things like if I eat too much refined sugar or if I eat gluten, those are two things that just don't make me feel very good when I consume them. Oh,
Right.
another one I would say, just personally speaking, just like I'd say, like if I eat things that are overly greasy, which in my world, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, I don't really consume very much. I would say very unhealthy kind of greasy type
Right.
foods, but just I don't feel my best. I don't feel my best when I eat that way. So,
Right.
what are your thoughts on this, Dan?
Thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction. It is a very intimate topic with me because I am a nutritionist. And what happened during this pandemic is that so many individuals, they gain weight. They called it the quarantine 15. I'm going to say that we have been discussing this in the office, Mandy. And what we've said is that we're concerned because the pandemic that's going to come out of the pandemic is going to be those that are overweight, and all of those consequences, whether it could be diabetes, whether it could be an autoimmune condition, whether it can be cardiovascular issues and so forth, hypertension. And the one thing that you need to do during this time is stay away from those ultra processed foods. Stay
Yeah,
away from them. Those are
totally.
in the middle of the aisles in the food store, if you will, and
Yes.
stay away from them. Because if you remember, the pictures when this first happened, it was those individuals going to buy the cakes, the candies, the cookies, you know, all of that stuff needs to be taken out because it will bring your mood down. It will bring your
Totally.
mood down 100%. You're eating that. It's all, like you said, it's all the processed foods, the sugars, brings it up, and then you crash up and down.
Totally.
You don't want to stay there. So equally as important, the foods to eat are equally as important as the foods to avoid. And we just don't have them in the house. In the beginning, we did, because it was like, I guess, a knee-jerk reaction, and we're all human during this time. So I said, no, we can't do this. We can't do this. And when you have a 13-year-old, Mandy, they want some of that stuff too. They want the cakes, the candies, the cookies, and all of that sort of good stuff. So
see, this is a time when the EFT tapping can come in handy, because when you're tapping, you're actually sending the signal through meridians to that amygdala. Your amygdala helps with behavioral responses. So especially when it comes to things like, let's be honest, sugar is a very real addiction for a lot of people in particular. And it literally, when you're doing this, you're basically learning to self-soothe your emotional feelings, so that you're not going to react in the means of turning to unhealthy habits. That's really what you're doing. So with something like this, a lot of people, what they don't realize is they're actually addicted to something like sugar, or they're addicted to certain ingredients in certain foods that are processed. And not only by avoiding those things are they going to be doing a service to their physical being and well-being, but their mental health is going to also be positively affected as well.
100%. Now, the other thing is what can you eat? What's a smart thing to eat? Like something like a modified Mediterranean diet where you're eating cold water fish.
Absolutely. Omega-3s. I don't care if you're, this is the thing, whether you're vegan, keto, carnivore, like whatever. I'm not going to place judgment. It's not my call again. I think everybody has their own individual way of knowing what works for them. But you can, with whatever diet you're consuming, you can always get your nutrients in if you're smart about it. So I think that requires some education. But like you're saying, I think a modified Mediterranean is literally what was top of mind for me too, is thinking like, especially the omega-3s, because that's really going to help your brain. It's going to help you feel better, look better, feel better.
Yes, 100%. A modified Mediterranean diet. Eat,
I like to say, eat as straight from the earth as you possibly can.
Right. Don't go and listen, if it comes in a box, leave it out. If you can't read it, leave it out. And we're talking about supporting local businesses too. If you have a farmer's market, go to the farmer's market.
Oh, yes.
Buy those fresh fruits and vegetables. Eat the rainbow. The rainbow, different colors that are in there. That is really a great thing to do. And if you want to have a piece of meat, make sure it's grass-fed, in my opinion, instead of grain-fed. Again, more omega-3 fatty acids. A simple supplement, Mandy, such as vitamin D, helps with your mood.
That's a huge one for immunity, for mental health. Like there's so many, vitamin D for sure. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like I do sometimes, like even just to get, say, extra protein in and things like, if we're talking from a physical standpoint, to keep myself healthy, sometimes if I want to get more protein, like I will have a protein shake, but I really am like such a vigilante when it comes to reading the labels and knowing that it's like a pure source, like without getting into the discussion around this, like even yesterday I actually bought just pure, like I've been buying sort of pure powders, like pure plant-based powders, like pure hemp, pure pea powder, pure brown rice, pure even soy powder. And like, I'm getting more creative at home with making my own, like taking, say something like that, that's protein, but maybe doesn't taste, so appealing. But adding all of the fresh things like fruits or spices, or even like I'm a fan of using stevia instead of
Right.
like a more plant sourced sweetener
Right.
that's natural versus something that like I don't use white sugar. I find even for me, like I hate feeling super bloated and feeling like I have water retention. So although our body does need salt, I find like even again, processed foods are so high in sodium, or things like corn syrup. Like these things are not going
Yeah,
to
you don't want
assist
that.
you in feeling your best. First of all, physically, they're probably going to make you either give you that high and then a crash, or just make you feel sluggish or bloated or just not your best. So exactly what you're saying. Like, I really like this, whatever type of diet you're eating, make sure you know where your food is coming from. Like, where is it sourced from? What are they using to produce it? What are they using to maintain that crop even? Like I think, as you said, supporting local farmers. Maybe right now it might not look like you could go to a farmer's market where you are, because I mean, I love doing that myself personally. I love going to farmers markets, but in some places that's not a possibility. But maybe even at your grocery store, there's usually a section where you can see like locally sourced produce, and then that's supporting, local farmers as well.
Wonderful, 100%. So those are important aspects of it. Omega-3 fatty acids, a Mediterranean diet, taking a vitamin D supplement, taking a protein shake. Now, in conjunction with this, to help your mind and your body and your soul, is to exercise a little bit.
Amen.
Right?
You said one of my favorite words. Well, fitness. I was going to say fitness.
Right.
My
and
favorite,
listen.
I think it's one of my favorite F words.
Right. And there are some, right? So even, listen, if you've never worked out before, or if you've never done exercise on a regular basis, even if you were to walk 10 to 15 minutes out of your house and walk 10 to 15 minutes, right, Mandy? Listen, if you have a dog, get your dog, walk your dog 15 minutes one way, walk him back 15 minutes another way. I do this every morning, my wife and I. One of us is going to take we have a 12-pound cockapoo named Rocky.
Oh, I love dogs so much.
And he loves it, and he has a good time, and it's therapeutic in many different ways. So you don't have to run that marathon right away.
No, you know what? I've gotten creative too. Like, I will even just say, I will be very real with y'all. Like, there have been some days, even in Toronto, when it got really cold. And I think I said this on the last podcast, or when you and I have chatted anyways, my daily walks, it might've been another interview actually, but my daily walks for me are like therapy. I literally refer to my fitness as therapy. The one thing I want to mention, because we're talking about fitness. So prior to me doing like a ton of YouTubes on, different like tapping and manifestation and mindset stuff, I was doing a lot of, in the beginning of COVID, this is where I created my own box. I saw such a need for fitness online, for people to be able to do at-home workouts, no equipment, quick and easy, simple, maybe not easy, but simple and quick. And I literally came out with a whole series of 5 to 10 minute workout videos that people can do at home, no equipment needed. So you guys can check those out on YouTube too. And they target usually things like booty, abs, even some arms and leg videos. So that's totally free if you guys want exercise videos that you can do.
Great. And I've seen them. They're excellent. Right.
Thank you so much at home. Because I saw the necessity. I saw a lot of people wanting to have something to turn to because they couldn't go to the gym anymore. That's one option. Now, talking about the outdoor walks, this is really getting creative now. So I live in a condo. I think I said that before as well, but at one point it had gotten, and I have a gym here. Also, obviously I go to gyms outside of my condo as well. Everything was closed, and everything has been closed. So I've been doing all at home workouts for things like, HIIT training, resistance training, even weights. I have weights that I bought and have at home, exercise bands, booty bands, like you name it. I have a little home gym now. But in terms of getting for me, my walks, especially when I can be around nature, that is like therapy for my mind, my body, my soul, all of that. And there were a few days when it honestly was just like painstakingly cold, and I even bundled up to the nines, but it was just too cold. Do you know what I ended up doing, Dan? I got really creative. I wore my mask.
Right.
I dressed as though I was going out to add like extra heat to this. I
Right.
actually started walking in my my condo is very long. And
Hmm.
just, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to again, you can let anything be an excuse or you can turn it into an opportunity. I said, okay, how can I get creative to be able to like get kind of a walk in and some cardiovascular without going outside? Because my gym's
Right.
closed as well. And I'm not going to be, you could, I mean, if you even just don't even want to leave your place, you can actually walk on spot, power
Right.
walk on spot if you really want to. I didn't want to do that though. So I wanted to utilize the fact that there's stairs in my condo. There's also hallways. I literally put together a little routine where I would walk a number of laps on each floor and then go up the stairs. And I'm telling you, doing that there's 24 floors in this building. Doing that, it took me almost an hour. I was sweating
That's great.
buckets. It was crazy, yes, but it was the
That was
best
great.
workout ever.
That's fabulous. That is a great workout. Listen, walking up and down your stairs, do
Walking up and down the stairs.
anything.
I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger who actually there was some time he was quoted saying that, like, there's literally no excuse. If you have access to stairs, if you have, again, with everything available online, like you could easily, there's so many free resources now for
There's
you
so
to be
many
able
that
to
you
work
can,
out for free with even amazing personal trainers or
right,
YouTubers online. So there's like no excuse for you guys to not be working out
right.
there. The only thing that's going to stop you is yourself.
That's right. So check out Mandy's YouTube channel. We're almost done here, Mandy. This
We're
hour has
almost.
gone, this hour has gone like really fast. And, I don't think we scratched the surface, but we're coming back in a month. So don't
Oh yeah.
worry, everybody. We'll be back. So
The few other
one,
things I think that were on the list, like we obviously don't have time today to get into them, but we can even do them on other podcasts, other things that can help with, de-stressing or bringing more peace back into your body, your mind, your spirit, are things like yoga, breath
mhm,
work, even
mhm,
going and seeing a chiropractor. I know that
right.
there's so many benefits, like having a chiropractor myself. I've
Mhm,
seen the benefits physically, but also to do
mentally.
with,
Mhm,
your emotional well-being, because you're working with the nervous system.
right.
And, times when I've even been cracked, there's been times when I have had emotional breakthroughs after, because of what you're doing with the body. So maybe just, I want to give the floor to you, even just to talk about that for a minute, because I think that's actually a really
Yeah.
powerful method to help with mental health.
Yeah, you know what? During this time of anxiety and stress and so forth, most people are motivated to come see a chiropractor because of some type of pain. But after they get adjusted, it helps strengthen the immune system, helps relieve that tension and stress in your body in that back area where you may have some low back pain, and it just puts you at ease, puts you at
Totally.
ease, and it helps you out. And whether you're seeing me or another chiropractor, get yourself into some chiropractic care, because there's so many benefits that you can get. You're going to think clearer. Your immune system is going to be stronger. Your nervous system is going to be stronger. Nervous system controls every bodily function that you have. So it's extremely important to go in and to get adjusted. So
I
during
can
this time,
personally attest for that. Absolutely. I
right,
always feel better.
right. So one other thing apiece. What are you thinking about, Mandy? One other thing. What are you thinking about? What can people do to keep that victor, mentality going?
Well, I'm always going to turn to mindset, things like positive
Mhm,
affirmations. That's a
mhm,
big one in my life, is like just realizing how powerful you are and how your thoughts really do create. We talk about this so often, or I do
mhm,
anyways. And I know I've shared this with you too. It's like,
mhm.
how can you speak to yourself in a way that's going to literally put that and excuse my language if you have kids out there, just cover their ears for a sec, but really, like, whether you're female or male, how can you step into that boss ass, badass kind of bitch,
Mhm.
or like boss, boss
Right,
bitch, goddess kind of like feeling of being the operant one in your reality, like
mhm,
really creating a space where
right,
you put that leadership cap on and you go, you know what, no matter what's going on in my external world, within myself, I realize that I have the power to have the best day ever. in my entire life. Like today, right now in this moment, I can shift everything to be in my favor. I can create the flow in my own within so that my external is going to reflect peace, bliss, ease, flow, positivity, happiness, joy,
100%.
all of that. That starts from within here, and it starts by speaking positively to yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. The word leadership, lead. Now's the time to be a leader. And I think on my last parting comment today is get involved in your community. And what I mean by that, if there are those that can't get out and those that need help, whether it's food shopping, I know in our town here, we've helped those that, just really can't get out during this time.
Or like my mom will go and drop off stuff for my grandparents and vice versa sometimes, like things like that that are so sweet.
Right. Go help somebody. We have those that are unable to get out because of various reasons during this time, and we'll go food shopping for them. And
there was a time actually I went, speaking of that, just quickly, there was a time that, and I've done this a few times actually now, where I'll go to my grandparents' building and I know they can look down and see me, and like I'll wave up at them just to know that, I do care and I do want to see them. I can't maybe physically be in touch, but I'm still here, and I know some people are long distance, so they can't do that. But even little things like that, like just making people feel like
feel better. Right. 100%. Exactly. So Mandy, this has been an excellent first segment, of MD Life.
The MD Life.
MD Life. I love this.
I'm really curious what y'all are going to come up with. If you guys have different names that we could have for this segment that we do together monthly.
Right. So listen, if you have a name, put it in the box, whether you're listening to this live, type it in, and we're going to come back in about a month. All right. And we're going to do another segment, number two. Okay. So Mandy, thank you very much. And I want to thank everybody for listening, whether it's here now or you're listening to afterwards. We appreciate you coming in. We're going to come back in about a month, and we're going to do a monthly podcast, and we're going to motivate, educate, inspire. We love doing this. And Mandy, thank you very much. Real quick, because we got like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
How can people contact you?
Website is mandyjross.com, MandyJross.com. I'm pretty much at Mandy J. Ross, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, all the places and spaces. YouTube channel is also Mandy J. Ross, pretty much across the board. So I love connecting with y'all, whether it's through any of those. I'm happy to connect with you guys. And if I can be of assistance in some way, happy to do that as well.
Absolutely. You can contact me at suburbanwellnessgroup.com or greenleafbewell.com. I want to thank everybody for listening today. This was great. Mandy and I are very excited to do this. Mandy, thank you very much for being here today. And we will see everybody in about a month.
And we are wishing y'all a magical March.
Magical March. Go get them. Take care, everybody.